Hey, it's After the Gig, and I'm Jesse Humphrey, and today on the show I have the wonderful Greg Lato. Greg is a Rhode Island singer-songwriter that more specifically has published a children's book, and I'm excited to learn all about that process and how to publish a book. I mean, I have no idea how to do that, what it takes, how long it takes to write a children's book, or how long it takes to get someone to read it or want to publish it or whatever. But I think Greg is probably going to be a good person to demystify that whole thing for us. He's also a songwriter and has released music throughout his career. Now he's kind of gearing his career towards children's music and children's books and making his world and career revolve around that kind of thing. I'm really excited to talk to Greg. So without further ado, it's After the Gig with my guest, Greg Lato.
I brought one for your son.
That's amazing.
So you can keep that.
Can I take a look?
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Put it up on the screen there for the people.
Now?
He'll be 4 next month. Yeah, so he's like, he loves to read, and this is going to be amazing. How long ago did you publish this or write this?
That was in 2022.
Oh, so this was like super recent.
Yeah, so that's my second children's book. My first book, I have one other book, and that was in 2017.
That's awesome.
And that's how I got into the whole thing of children's music.
Okay.
Was from that first book.
Interesting.
You know, I read to my daughters every night from when they were babies.
Yeah.
You know, you read to your kids. And I guess I was just like, you know, I wasn't even thinking about children's music. I wasn't in that whole world at all. Mm-hmm. I was doing, for many years, as you know, I was doing like pop rock stuff, like Rob Thomas type stuff, you know.
Yeah, because you were making videos. Like
I was making full-fledged music videos where I would play different characters. Mm-hmm. And basically, my quirky self was coming through in these pop rock songs about relationships and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, what you write about. But my personality, like I said, was quirky. So really, if you just change the lyrical content geared towards kids with those kind of themes,
right,
it's not much different than I was doing before.
It kind of fit in.
Yeah, it's just
easily.
I'm not singing about those things I was before. I'm singing about kids-related themes and being a dad.
Interesting.
You know, in that whole kind of world now. But like I was saying, I did the book. I was reading to my kids, and I guess I was reading a particular book, and I don't know, something like clicked in my brain where it was thinking this could be a song, like the book I was reading. It wasn't a sing-along book. And I went to my home studio. I have a studio in my house with a Logic setup that I demo songs almost like a record. Mm-hmm. And then I take it to a studio and work with a producer.
Yeah, you kind of get it as close as you want to get it.
Yeah. Very close. Yeah. You know? But I don't trust myself to do it all. And I mean, you know, you have to know your weaknesses and your strength.
Right,
you know?
Right.
I recognize that.
I literally just released a single and I did it all myself. And I'm like,
if you can do it, you can.
Yeah, but I don't know if I would again. To do it the same way.
You need those extra set of ears.
Right.
You know, I mean, you have to have some level of self-quality control. Mm-hmm. Where you can hear things, you know, and I can hear things, you know, I have ears that like musical ears where I can hear things, but I just need that extra set, you know, where somebody's going to come in and say, you know, those extra opinions.
Right.
When you're by yourself, you have nobody, you know, it's like, and I just can't work that way.
Yeah. For me, if I know something's wrong, I can't really convince myself of it because either I don't really know how to change it. I don't know what the right thing to do is.
Right.
And then having that extra set of ears, like a lot of times it's my wife.
Oh, yeah.
So she'll listen to something and I can tell by just watching her like listen.
Yeah.
I can tell when she's engaged or when she is like, you know, knows that it's not really working. You know what I mean?
And the good thing about children's music is having kids, they are my focus group.
Yeah.
But what I mean more of is like when it gets into pitch, timing, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
it's nice to have somebody else go through it and just make sure.
Right. Right.
I probably could do it on my own, but I don't trust it.
Yeah, but why?
Well, why?
Yeah, but why?
You don't have to.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, I digress. Like I was saying before, I went to my home studio.
Okay.
And I was going through some tracks I had, and it was a quirky kind of thing. Like it could be a children's song, and I wrote some lyrics. I just created this song. Okay, so I had one song written, and it was a children's song. Kind of like an uplifting message. It was called Try, and it was just about never giving up, just like a universal, uplifting, inspiring message for kids with kids kind of themes in it. And I said, this could be a cool book. Not knowing how to do that. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what to do, but I had this one song. And I took it to my producer at the time, and we worked it up and everything. So what I did, to answer your question, I reached out to somebody else who wrote a children's book before. I had a couple books, and I just, started asking questions, and they were like, well, I could come on as like an editor and walk you through the process.
Kind of be a part of the team and help you along, yeah.
Right. And that was great because I had no clue how to do this, and I'd never even, at this point, I just had a song, and that's what I do. I write songs. So that part of it I had covered, but I wasn't even thinking about going and perform it or anything for kids.
Yeah.
I wasn't even going there yet.
We were at square one. Yeah,
Little did I know what I was in for.
Yeah.
Which was unbelievably awesome. So I took about a year from the point where I had the song until I had the book in my hands. It was like 1 year.
Wow.
And, I worked with...
That doesn't seem like a lot of time. For
No.
like from starting a song, having a song, to having a book in your hands.
Yeah.
That's like publishing.
It seemed like a long time.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. It's like, is this going to end? Yeah.
So I had to look for an illustrator. So we found 3 people. One person she had worked with before, and just started talking about the concept and everything, and picked one of them, and it worked out great. The book was Try, and now it was opening up these possibilities to perform.
Yeah.
At bookstores, libraries.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
So I had the one song, so I would go and do story times, but what I would do is read the book and then perform the song. So it was totally different than what I was used to.
But what was the publishing experience like? Like how?
Yeah.
What's that like to get into for someone that has no idea?
Well, having the help was good because she was a published author, and I had met with her publishing company and reached out to a couple others I was having a conversation with, but I ultimately decided to self-release the book.
Okay.
And not go with the publisher. I just didn't feel it was a right fit.
Okay.
And just, the terms of the deal, and some publishers, they want you to like buy a certain amount of books like yourself.
Right.
Buy into it.
Yeah, I've heard about that because I've had a couple friends that have written books about like being on the road and like things like along those lines, and then they always have to like kind of up front come up with a boatload of cash for books. They end up selling them at shows and stuff. But
I didn't want to do that.
No.
So I decided to just self-release. I mean, it's a different world now.
Yeah.
It's I had somewhat of a following from what I was doing before.
Yep.
Coming up, doing it for 20 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Close to that.
Yeah.
And a lot of the, fans, followers of my music that I had have kids.
Yeah.
At that point, So I was hoping some of that would, they would just
carry over
and show up at the shows. Yeah. So, and it did happen. What I was doing was I was performing the one song at the show they weren't shows, they were story times.
Those are shows. Those are shows too.
They are shows. Yeah.
For a kid, that's
like
a big deal.
we think of shows,
Yeah.
right? The kids would come up to me and the parents and be like, well, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, do you have anything else? And I'd be like, no, that's all I got.
That's all I got. Do you want me to do it again?
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't have anything else. So I went back to the studio and started writing more, That's and at the time, this was 2017. So my first daughter was 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a baby. My second daughter was a baby. Okay, so she was born in 2017 in January. So I had a lot of content, like inspiration, and there was a lot of content to draw from.
I remember, when we had Ethan, our son, it's just, constantly had the guitar going, and you're singing all the songs that, we all know from like Raffi and all that stuff.
Right.
And then you always come up with your own little things. Yeah. And my wife actually wrote a song for Ethan, and it's really, really good. And this is one of the reasons why I'm so interested in the book process. And she comes up with all these like little stories for him every night. Like he always wants to do like a makeup story, and we create this world, for him over the course of bedtime every night.
And that's basically what I was doing.
Yeah, it's so fascinating.
I was following them around the house with a guitar and, coming up with silly songs. And they would turn into actual songs.
Right.
At first, they're just like little bits and pieces. But then, being the songwriter that I am, I have to structure it.
Yeah.
Right. I was structuring it into actual songs, verse, chorus, bridge.
Yeah.
And I might be onto something here.
Did you fall into the thing, not fall into like a trap, but like I noticed once having Ethan that there was this whole other world of YouTube singer-songwriters, like children's stuff. Like you have like your Coco Melons and all that stuff. But I saw you at the Laurie Berkner concert in East Greenwich, and she was like literally on our TV every day for the longest time.
We have the same publicist.
Okay.
So
gotcha.
I got into the show to meet her and stuff.
Right. And I feel like the reason why I bring her up is because she's making real songs, like you said, verse, chorus, and they're fun and they're cool, and she has a band and everything, and you could tell it's like, oh, this is someone that's done this a long time, that has kind of rekindled or kind of pivoted her career towards children's music. She's fantastic. I love her. She's great.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm inspired by, I met a lot of great children's artists through this journey.
Yeah.
Through different events and everything. And now, I feel like I'm part of the community, which is great. It's an unbelievable community. It's like amazing, talented people, and it's a close-knit community. It's like a lot of the artists know each other and help each other, and, just are fans of each other.
Yeah.
It's unlike anything I've ever been a part of.
That's cool.
It's not like what I was doing before.
Yeah.
Where you barely know anybody and nobody.
Everyone, it's like competitive. And
it's competitive.
Kind of weird.
It's not like that in the children's music community.
That's good to know. It's cool.
Yeah, we're not in competition with each other. We're peers, where we help each other. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing. I've been to conferences, all kinds of things. Went to the Grammys in February. And we have a breakfast. We have
that's awesome.
Events where we get together, the community.
Very cool.
And it's such a welcoming environment.
Yeah. I'll always say that about just musicians in general. Like even when I was in college at Berkeley and stuff, it was just the vibe was really positive.
Yeah.
As far as the ones that were just for doing it for the right reasons, doing it for kids and to affect people's lives rather than I'm gonna, I don't know, be the best drummer. I'm gonna embarrass somebody or whatever. It's just it's it's a whole different reason because you're doing it for the imagination. You're doing it for the kids, for the stories, for the fun, you know.
Right. It's all about the kids.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what it is. It's like, you know, we don't mind being silly, you know, it brought out a different side of me that I didn't know existed. You know, it's like I wasn't even thinking about children's music and, you know, it's, you know, what I do to entertain kids and families.
Right.
You know, it's brought out a creativity,
you
know, and just a side of my personality that
it's awesome.
That wasn't there. I didn't know was there.
Did this all come as like a surprise to you, or was it just kind of fell into place pretty easily?
Both.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it was a surprise. The surprise was how well it was received. Mm-hmm. You know, like, I mean, you go into it not knowing, you know, what the reaction is going to be. Right. And you just hear it at the shows. Like, the kids are, like, the critics right at the show. Like, during the set.
Boo!
Yeah. Whatever. Yeah, like, they'll heckle you. Like, they'll let you know.
That's awesome.
It's an instant feedback.
Yeah.
You know, and I love that.
That's cool.
You know, and it's so great.
I've thought about asking my son's daycare, you know, person, like, do you want me to come in and play a couple of songs for the kids? I'm so nervous to do it because it's one thing going up and in front of a crowd that's like all on your team. You know, everyone in the room is on your team and like they want to hear songs and they want to be there and they're happy that you're there in their town or whatever. But it's another thing to walk into an unsuspecting group of children that could rip you to shreds. I'm afraid of them.
Oh yeah.
Like seriously. Like really afraid of them. And I haven't asked.
And the
3
thing
years.
is, at first, like, you don't know how to react.
Right.
You know, you could just, it's like a stand-up comic. Like,
for sure.
You can bomb.
Totally.
You know, like, you could go up there and just, like, and they have ways, like, comics have ways of tweaking the set, you know, to gear towards the audience. Yep. You know, they may not do the same set based on the reaction.
They'll change up the words a little bit.
Insert a joke here that they weren't going to do. Right. You know, or they were going to do this last and they moved it up and they put another joke last. We pretty much have to do that, or I do, you know, have to do that every show. Yeah. So you can't really write a set list.
And that's a lot. That's experience too.
I have a list of songs, and I don't know where it's gonna go. It may go that way, but I don't know. And yeah, it comes with experience. And it also, what comes with experience is how to respond to the heckles, like to the, you know, I say heckle, but not in a. It's not like it's in a bad way.
Yeah. How do you shut down an unruly kid?
All that. Yes. Right.
In a positive, nice way. You know.
Yes.
Rather than, hey, can you get your kid out of here?
Right. You have to do it in the right way. And I have ways of doing it. I have go-to ways. Okay. I know how to, you know, how to navigate through the set. Because sometimes, my shows are mostly to elementary school kids. But, you know, first grade is entirely different than fifth grade. So it's like, you know, you may do a show for third to fifth grade. So I can't do the same set that I do for the first, you know, first and second grade.
Yeah, you have to cater towards the older kids or the younger kids.
Yeah, so I move songs around and I swap things out. Okay. You know, or if there's a song that's like borderline, it could be a little too young. And I see that, you know, then I'll go right to something after that's more for their age group.
Gotcha.
Because I have stuff for all elementary school age. Yeah. My music it kind of runs the gamut of all elementary school age, basically. Yeah. So
I remember that being one of my favorite things whenever, I mean, it speaks like I became a musician, but that was one of my favorite things when they would have musicians come to elementary school, and you would all sit down crisscross on the floors, and and they would play to you, and they would walk around, and sometimes you would get to play a shaker, or sometimes you would get to do something, and it was a special.
They make it interactive.
Yeah, it was a special thing. Right. I remember always enjoying that.
So I'm learning as I go. Like, you know, I've been doing it for a while now, where, you know, I can pretty much go into any school situation and make it work.
Yeah.
You know, and no matter how the crowd is, how the kids are, like, you know, how they're feeling that day.
Yeah.
It could change from show to show.
Yeah.
Depends what time of the day. Sometimes if you do an early show or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, that could change.
Depending on how hungry they are.
All that. Yeah. right. Yeah. Tired, hungry.
Yeah. You know. Yeah. When my son is tired, it's a nightmare.
And then I can just go into any situation now and just do my show, like do it.
Yeah.
You know, and have them.
That's gotta feel really good. Like having the confidence to go and be like, I can handle the majority of situations, you know, whatever happens here.
I mean, almost never does it go wrong.
Yeah.
You know.
How often do you do that in a school year?
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, especially like, you know, reading week. A lot of schools have me, and their reading weeks are different weeks. It's not all the same for all schools.
Awesome.
So it keeps me active throughout the school year.
Cool.
Because they like for me to incorporate the books into the show.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's mostly reading week is when I perform, but you know, it could vary. And then during the summer I do like a lot of library shows, events, like family events.
Yeah, fun.
Stuff like that. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, my favorite are the schools.
Yeah.
If it's an active audience, it's a guaranteed, you know, big crowd.
Yeah.
And I love the large crowds of kids.
No matter what, there's going to be energy. Yeah. Pretty much. You're not going to, you know, I can't imagine, like, kids are all so excited that they're out of class. They get to all be around their friends and stuff, and it's something cool happening.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So... yeah, I love it. It's unlike anything, any experience. Like, you know, I've been doing music for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, and this is the most fun, you know, I've ever had since I've been doing children's music. It's just brought out this other side, you know, of creativity, all that. It's like amazing to perform for kids.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, this is the second book.
Yeah, this is my second book.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody Needs Someone.
And this came out 2020, you said?
2022. It has a song with it that's also on my last album.
Okay, awesome. Do you have like a YouTube channel and stuff that...
I have a YouTube channel.
That goes along with kind of...
Yeah, I have music videos that I do.
Yeah.
A lot of the videos are green screen type videos. And I also have... like I was doing before with like the full-fledged production music videos.
Yeah.
I have a couple of those as well.
Awesome.
Where, you know, when I was doing those videos before children's music, when I was playing different characters and doing kind of funny videos, I just kind of moved that over into children's music.
Do the videos kind of have you like write a script for them and the whole thing?
Yeah.
How does that start for you? It's
just riffing ideas. And, you know, if I'm going to do like the green screen videos are easier.
Okay.
Because you're in front of a screen, right? And they put the background in later.
Right.
And you can just have kind of one theme, you know, like I have a song about animals and it's like I'm in a jungle and... you know, with all of that and everything. And I have somebody that does those videos he's amazing at it.
Really?
Jesse, and his name's Jesse.
Oh, cool. It's a good name. Solid name.
And yeah, he's amazing at these green screen videos.
Okay.
And then I worked with another director for the video that had the concept. It was an actual video.
Yep.
And that was for my last album. And we shot it at U-Rock School of Music.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Which is in Cranston.
Yeah.
And
where in Cranston is that?
It's on
I've
Broad
heard of
Street.
It's on Broad Street?
Yeah. And my daughter goes there.
Okay.
Takes guitar lessons.
That's fun. I'm always wondering because it's funny to say, but I haven't lived in Cranston for very long now.
Yeah.
You know, before I lived in Boston for half my life, and the previous before I left, I wasn't, was at home. I was so young. So
Yeah.
it's interesting to see how things have developed. And musically, I don't really know a whole lot about it, about what people are doing, what they're, when I lived here, I took drum lessons from John Ragusta across the street from Bain. And, that's not around anymore. And so it's interesting the way things have developed and changed. But
yeah, that place is like a school of rock. So we filmed it there, and my concept was, so kids are having an audition like for a singer, a kids band.
Yep.
And I walk into the audition. Right. So, like right there, like, it was that one line, like one idea that I had.
Yeah.
So there's so many
pretty
things
great.
you could do. Like you just lead with that. Okay. Yeah. And already the comedy will ensue.
Right.
Like if you have that idea. So I,
vibing out other kids, singers, trying to
I
audition.
walk in and they're all looking at each other like, what is this dad? Like middle-aged
Whose dad is this?
Whose dad is this? And he's auditioning. And then I had a judge's table, and my daughter was one of the judges.
All right.
They put up the signs like with a big X on it.
Yeah.
So at first they're like, no, and then it has scenes of me trying to fit in.
Okay.
Like there's a pizza party. I'm dancing like off. Like when you have band rehearsal and you hang out.
Yeah.
I'm trying to like hang.
Yeah.
And be cool. Yeah.
It's funny.
So yeah, it's pretty funny. But yeah, that was the only one I did for that album that had like it had kids in it. It was
a lot of production to it.
Yeah. And then I did green screen videos for the rest of the stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to have
Content.
some kind of visual content.
You got to have content because it's
keeping people engaged.
Kids are on YouTube, like that's where they go. Facebook, that age,
right?
Their parents. So like when I do Facebook, it's more for the parents.
Right.
Instagram. Kids aren't on those things. Elementary age. So my kids are always on YouTube. You have to gear the content towards your audience. Like in whatever medium it is, know your audience.
Right.
For that medium.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting the whole way it works. So you were a firefighter on an aircraft carrier?
Yeah, so
in another life?
In another lifetime. I'm a Navy veteran. I was in the Navy, and I was an aircraft firefighter on the flight deck of a carrier. It's
pretty incredible.
USS Constellation. And
how old were you when you were doing that?
When I went into the Navy, I was 22, and I got out when I was 26. So 4 years. I was stationed in San Diego.
Very nice.
So when I was stationed in San Diego, I was 2 hours from LA. And I would go to LA to meet people like for music.
Interesting.
Stuff, when I was not at work.
Right.
I would, when we were in port, because we did go on some deployments, but when we were at the base and I was off work, I would, on the weekends, I would go to LA and meet people, hang, and all that kind of stuff. I knew people there already.
Right.
Because I had lived there previous.
Oh.
When I was 18, I moved out there.
Were you 18?
Yeah.
Wow.
Briefly.
Wow. So that was like right after high school. So you just kind of popped out and were like, I'm going to LA.
Yeah, it was like the year after.
Okay.
I went out there and I had friends who graduated Berkeley.
Okay.
And we all kind of like went out there together. And, the friends that I moved out there with are all onto like amazing things in the music industry these days. One of them's in the Google Dolls now. And,
oh, wow.
It's like... And my best friend that I grew up with went on to do amazing things, in the industry. So I retained these friends all these years,
Right. Right.
But anyway, when I was in the Navy, I would go out there and hang with them and meet other people and stuff. So I built contacts over the years.
Right.
But, as far as the Navy, it was an amazing experience. And the cool thing about Facebook and social media is you can stay in contact with people that you were in the Navy with.
Right.
But yeah, I mean,
What was it like to be on one of those boats?
Yeah, it was.
I almost got to land on an aircraft carrier in the Middle East, but it got canceled because there was a bunch of stuff going on, like kind of in Qatar and stuff.
Yeah.
So I got to play do a Navy entertainment tour.
Oh.
Which was an incredible experience. We got to hang out in Rota, Spain at the base there, the Air Force base, and hang out with a bunch of like Navy SEALs there, which was cool. And we did 4th of July in Bahrain. So at the base in Bahrain, we got to hang out there on the 4th of July and play in front of this, right in the middle of the base, play in front of this huge American flag and for all the troops, and everyone was getting like wasted. It was really fun.
I've been there.
Oh, okay.
To the base in Bahrain.
Okay, yeah. So there was 2 bases. There was one that's like right in the middle of the city, and then there was another one that's a little further out, which I think is like the air base. It's near where all the Patriot missile sites is. Oh, yeah. We got to see the Patriot missile site, which was kind of crazy, and it was just so goddamn hot. It was so hot. Yeah, I could not believe it. I'd never experienced like walking out of a building and feeling like the heat just like punched you in the face.
So think about being like in the Persian Gulf.
Yeah.
In the summer, on the flight deck, with the jet, the exhaust from the jet.
Can't even imagine.
Like, because there's a lot of jets on the flight deck moving around, landing, taking off. So there's a lot of exhaust going on.
Yeah.
Okay, which is extremely hot to begin with.
What do you do to combat that? Is it just
we had backpacks with water.
Okay.
But they would just, the ice would melt on them. And so after a while, we're just drinking hot water.
Oh my God.
But you had to stay hydrated.
Right.
So.
How long would a shift on the flight deck be?
18 hours.
18 hours? Holy crap.
Yeah. So I was doing like 18-hour days.
Wow.
And then, you sleep right below, when you're at sea.
Yep.
Our berthing compartments were right under the flight deck.
Really?
So even when you are sleeping, the planes are still landing, and are extremely loud.
Wow.
So you had to try to sleep.
How do you sleep through? Do you wear like
not while you're sleeping, but on the flight deck you wear sound attenuators.
Okay.
They're like headphones.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you wear those while you're working on the flight deck. And, they had a fire truck on the flight deck that we were on.
Right.
In case something happens, we're there. We're the fire crew.
Right. Did anything ever happen that was kind of crazy?
Yeah, twice. 2 kind of major events happened in my time. One of them was a fighter jet came in. It was an F-18, came in with one engine. The engine had blown.
Yep.
And we had to rescue the pilot out of the aircraft.
Oh, wow.
So I was part of the crew that went up, with the crane, and we rescued the pilot out.
Wow.
And I got a letter from the admiral, super proud of.
That's incredible.
And another one was there was a flare. They had flares.
Yep.
And one on a helicopter caught fire, and we had to, when the helicopter landed on the flight deck, we had to get the flare out of the aircraft, but it was on fire.
Oh my God.
So
how'd that go off in the?
It just went off while it was inside the helicopter.
Oh man!
So we had to get it out of the aircraft.
That's crazy.
Safely. We had a lot of drills. They would light an aircraft on fire, and we had to rush in and fight an actual fire.
Wow.
In training.
Right.
So yeah, it was an amazing experience. That's what I wanted to do at the time, was become a firefighter.
Okay. I was just about to ask you, like, why
I did.
firefighter?
Well, it was like I was on lists, and time ran. I was doing other things, and then by the time it got to my name on the list, I was already on to other things.
Right.
So it's like, but there was a window of opportunity, I guess. There was a point in time where if I was called in that time when nothing was going on,
right.
I definitely would have taken the job.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that's what I wanted to do. I had an amazing time in the military. I saw so much. we went to a lot of countries, we went on what you call Westpac cruises,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like a 6-month deployment. I went on 2 of them, and you would just go to all the countries. You know, you would go to Australia,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the Asian countries. You would go to so many different places. You know,
How long does it take to get out there on a boat like that? Like, are you in a carrier group? Like you're with?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you just all go out together.
You're all just kind of hauling.
But it was amazing time. Yeah. I mean, when I look back on it, it's like I have the pictures and videos and stuff.
It's unbelievable.
It's like, it was just, I can't believe I did it. You know, like I feel proud that I did that.
It's incredible.
The people that you met and everything, the connections you made, you know, I grew up in that time.
Yeah.
You know, because I had never left, you know, I left home for a little while to go to LA, but it's like, you know,
you were like too young. You were young and, you know, it like, I mean, that's a major life.
Home. Yeah, I did, but it was not for a long time.
But then it was a major life experience.
But this was 4 years.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, you know.
Pretty rad.
I would go home and visit, like, on the holidays and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but that's about it. Like, 2 weeks a year, I would go home.
When you were out there on the deployments, like, could you communicate back to home? Or, like, what was.
See, that's the thing.
How did that work?
It was before social media.
Right.
It was, you know,
like
we
phone?
had email, but we had cell phones, but they weren't smartphones.
Okay.
And you didn't have service.
I couldn't imagine. I mean, I go on a cruise in the Gulf of Mexico and I don't have any service.
I mean, here's how old I am. I'm calling card old.
How old are you?
Calling card old. So that's what we had to do. If we were calling from overseas, we had calling cards.
Oh, man. Yeah.
And another thing is, on the ship, we had email, but it was a room with computers, and it was long lines because it was only like 5 computers for 5,000 people. You know, you know, there were 5,000 people.
Dudes banging on the door, get off the computer.
Well, you had to wait and then finally you could see if somebody responded to you from home. But most of the communication was letters that you would receive from home. You know, I would just write back and forth because it was the easiest way to do it.
And I imagine there was like a plane that would take off every day with mail and come back.
Right. And care packages and stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah. So we did
you don't think about that stuff.
Well, think about now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have your smartphone in these other countries. You can talk to home. You can get on FaceTimes. You can like if I had that when I was in all these amazing places.
Yeah.
You know,
still be out there.
My family would see everything I was doing, all the experiences, but they don't see it.
Right.
You know, I took pictures, but with a disposable camera.
Right.
You know, it's like.
It's not exactly the same megapixels that we have now.
Yeah, I mean, I still have all the pictures, and it's cool to have that.
Yeah. You get off the boat, you get out of there, and you decide to pursue your dreams as a musician. Right.
Awesome. So, you know, I've always done music growing up, but never really professionally, you know. I was in talent shows in school and stuff like that, but it was really like when I got out of the Navy, when I really started to pursue and, you know, making records and all that kind of stuff.
Right. When you left the Navy, so it was when you were there, when you eventually left, is that like you only had to serve so much time and it was just like, oh, time's up and then you're out of there? Or were you like, okay, I could stay, but
oh, you can re-enlist, yeah.
Okay, got it.
You know, I decided not to. You know, I was still like in the reserve.
Okay.
It was like an inactive reserve, and where they could call you up.
Yeah.
You know, at any time. But you know, they didn't call. But what I did was when I got out of the Navy, I went back to LA.
Gotcha.
And stayed there for a while, and was, you know, recording, doing stuff. You know.
Yeah.
Before I went back to Rhode Island, like I came back. So what I did was when I came back to Rhode Island, I would do frequent New York trips.
Okay.
You know, because it's only 3 hours. And I would just do the New York thing for a while and meet with people, pitch music. I joined like songwriting workshops and met a lot of people through that as well. So, you know, I'm more of an East Coast person. You know, I like California, but, you know, I don't love it. It's just a vibe that I connect with more.
Yeah. It's us Rhode Islanders. We like it out here.
Yeah, I mean, I love Rhode Island. You know,
Yeah.
it's like
They don't have the same kind of bakeries. It's just
I know people kind of knock it, you know, like and say I want to get out of here and this complain about the state. But I love it here.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I grew up here. You know, my family's here. You know, but you know, my wife's from California.
Oh.
I met her when I was in the Navy, so she loves it here. But I mean, as far as, you know, just my whole vibe is more of an East Coast kind of thing.
And Rhode Island has like a little bit of everything. You know, you can head down to Jamestown, Newport. You can do that kind of thing. The summers are great, but then you get all the seasons.
Yeah, so much variety.
There's a lot of variety,
right.
And you know, it's just it's a different type of person that lives up here than than around the country. Especially, you know, whenever I go out to California, I love to visit, I love being there, but I'm always happy to come home. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I still go. You know, her family's there, and I just went to the Grammys. You know, like I go for things, you know, and music related stuff that I like to network and stuff. We connect and meet people. So I still do it for that, but I like living here.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Speaking of the Grammys, so now you're a voting member of the Grammys, right?
that's correct, yeah.
Cool. How did that come along? Like what's the qualification what you need to do to
be a voting member, you can't just join. You have to have recommendations from music industry people. They have to write recommendations for you. So, I mean, being in the children's music community, it's like just everything has changed for me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, so more opportunities, I would say, have come my way since being in this genre. So that was an opportunity that came up, and I've been a voting member since 2021. It's really fun to be a part of, you know, I'm a part of a lot of initiatives and stuff that the Grammys has. Like, you know, I'm a district advocate, which is, I am actually going to meet with Seth Magaziner, the congressman, the week after Easter. I am going to meet with him to talk about, you know, initiatives and rights for songwriters.
Yeah. We need them.
Bills that are on the House floor that have to get passed.
Yeah. Well, a lot of listeners of the podcast and just followers of the show and stuff, they're always very curious about streaming, like amounts that artists get for streaming and how to best support artists, because most of them aren't, you know, they like the big artists and everything, but they follow the working class musician is what I call it.
Yeah. So, you know, it's very unfair, the compensation that we get for you know, we get 0.003.
Yeah.
That's under a penny per stream.
Right.
Okay.
For providing the product of the streaming platforms.
Right. So just to put that in perspective I mean, if you're a musician listening, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. Right. But if you're not a musician, just to give you a little perspective here, I had a single out. Okay. It got 100,000 streams and I made $300.
Yeah.
You know,
it's not great. Just to be in the boat with you, for lack of a better term, my new single currently has like, I think just under 14,000 streams, and I think I've made like $45.
Right.
And not even all of that is from streaming. It's from like YouTube, like Red or ads or something like that. Maybe it got put in a video and I got whatever, probably more for that than all of the streams combined.
Yeah, now it has more than 100,000 by now, but it was a Halloween single. So during the Halloween season, it got 100,000 streams, which is only like a 3-week period, 4-week period.
Yeah, which is great.
And I got a $300 check. You know,
thanks Spotify or whoever.
So, you know, I mean, good thing that's not. I don't rely on that.
No,
I have other avenues.
So what's the proposal? Like, what are the bills that are on that you know of that are worth fighting for?
Well, there's one now that's proposing that we get 1 penny, at least bring it up to a penny per stream.
Yeah, that would be pretty good.
Okay.
I mean, that'd be a big difference.
Yes.
It'd be
like,
a
can
massive
we at least get a penny?
Yeah.
Like per song, you know, I mean, think of like what we put into.
Right. All the time. We
don't just turn songs out like easily. Like, you know, there's a lot that goes into.
Right. And one of the
writing, recording, you know, it's and everything costs money. You know, it's like we put a lot into it.
Right.
You know, it's not free.
And one of the biggest exports that we have is our entertainment. And like, if we're going to put value on the arts and entertainment, which is like, it's already shown that that the lack of music and the cutting of musical programs and art programs in schools has really deteriorated the students and the kids, like going into the next step of their lives as far as communicating and social interactions. Like I don't even know what I would have done without band in high school or choir or things like that. If they cut that, I'd been devastated.
And just like all the other things that music education helps with, math, like it's been, it's been proven, like, it helps in all the other subjects as well. Because there's a lot that goes into learning how to read music, and music theory and all of that.
Yeah, you're learning another language.
But as far as like brain activity and how it stimulates, critical thinking and all of the other
coordination.
It's like a ripple that helps in all of the other subjects.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't realize that, and also the social skills that it develops.
Yeah,
I mean, when I was in school, I was in theater, the drama club, like all of that, and which is all under the umbrella of arts, drama club, band, like all of that. And it just helps, develop friendships.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
it's band memorization from, learning lines, and it helps with test taking, and
it didn't help me all that much with test taking.
It helped me. I mean, I was learning I was in plays through school, and I had to learn monologues, and it helps when you're studying for other classes.
Yeah, because you can, like, one thing helps the other.
You're going through your notes, from school, and it just helps in all the other areas. Why you would cut that, and it just, and also a sense of joy and fun and, something to do after school activities, and kind of.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of downside.
We could go on and on like, with all the things that it helps kids develop.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be the go-to thing to cut. That's usually like the first thing that they cut.
It's the first thing to go. I was talking to who was on the podcast, Ryan Muir. Do you know Ryan? The Muir brothers?
No.
So they were in the band Monty R.I. or Monty's Fan Club.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I heard of that.
So he is a music teacher down in South County now, and we talked all about, his choir. He runs a choir, and it's really, it's special to him. He's really, really good at it. Like, the relationship he has with the kids in the choir is, like, really special. And he gets fired every single year because of seniority and all that crap. Yep. So, and every year, and this is someone that has a house, a family, has a mortgage, a family, and does an excellent job in that all of the students love him. Like, and he puts a real effort into his curriculum and the songs they do, and makes it really interesting for the kids. I can go on and on, but he gets fired every year and then rehired. So it's like the superintendent fires him every year, and he's just waiting for another person to get hired.
That go, it's like you're waiting to see if.
He's like, I need someone else. I need someone else to get hired that's younger, so I don't have to be the one that gets chopped off at the end.
Right? And
it's not fair. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
For what? Get rid of the basketball coach. I don't know. Don't get rid of anybody. Like, we need them all. So it's.
I mean, are there more important jobs than like a teacher or a healthcare worker.
No,
Like,
no. It's like that is what
like that's the high regard.
That's the high value.
That we should hold people.
Yeah.
In those professions at the highest regard.
Right.
It's like
right, and it's it's so backwards now. It's so backwards, and it's all due to like. In my opinion, it's all due to industry and corporate greed,
right,
because
exactly
like none of these kids, like none of these sports programs get cut, and none of these kids are professional athletes. Like 3 of them, maybe, from that go to a private school or whatever.
I mean, there are benefits to sports programs, obviously.
A 1,000%. No, I'm not saying that.
But I mean, we may be a bit biased.
Yeah.
But the music programs, it's like we could just go on and on.
Yeah. Yeah.
About the benefits, how it helps you in all areas.
I went to Cranston West. It was interesting. I don't think it was the norm because a lot of the kids that were in choir and band and stuff were also like on the baseball team and the football team. It was a big mix, and I don't think that is like quite normal around the country, but it was a pretty great model of like what it could be. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was awesome. Like I think that vibe and the balance that the kids had when I was in high school was excellent. I think it was really, really great. And we had great teachers. We had Dennis DeSano, Artie Montanaro, and Philip Frone, and they were fantastic. And I would not like music as much as I do if it wasn't for those guys, which is cool.
I came up in Providence, so I went to Providence Public Schools, and then for high school, I went to North Providence. The drama club was amazing.
Really?
And we had like talent shows. It was like, I don't know, it was just it
was fun.
Fun time, yeah.
That's cool. What are you looking forward to most in your music career with the children's stuff? What do you see on the horizon?
I'm working on my next album right now, and it's a huge project.
Okay.
Huge concept and project. So I'm kind of like just like deep into that right now.
Cool. I'm
going to take really pretty much the rest of this year to work on it. That's how monumental.
Okay.
So I know we had talked about my military service.
Yep.
And I'm going to incorporate that into the next album.
Very cool.
So what I'm doing is I am meeting with military families, and each meeting with the military family is going to inspire me to write and record a song.
Wow.
So it is a children's album,
okay,
a family music album. So, the military families have families with kids.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I'm, into the meetings right now. I've already met with a few families, and it could be active duty or veterans. So I want to get all perspectives. I want to get stories from different backgrounds, from different branches of service. It's going amazing so far. It's like, there's funny, silly moments. There's heartfelt moments.
Anything that you haven't expected? Did you have any expectations going into it and then been like, oh, this is different. Maybe we're going a different way with this.
I mean, it is taking me on a journey.
Okay.
It's just, I didn't know what to expect going in.
Okay. Just an idea, and let's do it.
Just an idea, that I had, and I just said, let me just see where it takes me.
Yeah.
And, we're filming each meeting, and we're going to do like mini documentaries on them. So I'm actually going to meet with a family tomorrow, another family. But yeah, it's like run the gamut of emotions. Like it's, happy, sad, like all of it.
Is it all New England based families, or are you like Zooming with around the country?
We haven't done Zoom yet. Most of them have been local.
Okay.
But they're local stationed, but they're not from, a lot of them aren't from here.
Gotcha.
Or they're just like transitory. Most of them aren't from Rhode Island. I don't think any of them are from Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Like a family I met with, they move around quite a bit, So, it's good. It's great to get the perspectives too,
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I'm going to take some time to work on it. I've already started recording.
Okay.
As well.
Gotcha.
Because I'm writing as I meet.
Right, because it keeps it fresh.
Yeah. And, I'm a veteran too, so a couple of the songs are my own family.
Yeah, based around you, yeah. Of course.
But yeah, I mean, I've already talked with some military family organizations that love the concept, and they're, kind of championing, helping me, throughout the whole process. But yeah, I mean, it's more to come on that. I mean, it's still, I'm in it right now. I'm in the process, but next year it's going to be like a big publicity campaign getting the album out. We are going to have a lot of content.
That's awesome.
And yeah, it's just an amazing kind of journey that I'm on now.
It's great,
It's unbelievable. I never really tied in my military service. It's always been like separate from the music.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, what would happen if I,
right. Because it's all
use
part of
that
it.
to hear these stories. And, because what it is like, you don't hear about military families and their stories. It's kind of like military kids, like their voices go unheard. We don't know about them. It's a
tough, like the guitar player in Carbon Leaf in my bands, he was a Navy brat when he moved around a ton. His dad was stationed in Newport at one point, but he moved all around the country. And whenever I talk to him about it, you can tell there's like that, like you could see it in his face and his voice. It's like it was tough. It was hard living like that.
You don't hear about it.
No.
Like nobody hears about their stories.
Right.
And I want to give a voice to,
I think that's amazing,
to these families' stories, and what the kids go through. One of the families, the kids have never been in a school for longer than a year and a half.
Wow.
And they're like 11 and 14,
Wow. It's crazy.
So, what is it? What's their story like? Is it hard making new friends? How do they feel when they go to a new town and they don't know anybody? And, is that hard for you? And tell me about it. Like I want to know. Personally, I want to know about it.
Right.
And that's kind of why I'm not just doing the project just to do it.
Right.
I personally want to know.
Yeah.
Because I come from the military, and I've always wondered, like I heard about, there were people I was in the Navy with that had families, but I was young at the time, and my ears weren't open to what they were going through.
Yeah, you're not like ready to receive that at a young age.
I was a kid, it's like, but now that I look back on my service and, it has me thinking about things like that. And, it's really eye-opening what they go through.
Yeah.
There are all different types of stories I'm hearing,
Really?
Different experiences.
I can't even imagine living like that.
Yeah.
Like my dad moved around a lot when he was a kid. I don't know. I don't know that experience because it's like I knew what schools I was going to go to from when I was very little to, it was always going to be this path and it never changed.
But there's an unknown with them.
Right. And then, kids that will come in that like, oh, who's the new kid or whatever. And you look back at that and it seemed kind of normal, but you don't know what it was like for that kid in that kid's perspective.
They're constantly the new kid.
Yeah.
That's got to be really tough.
It's got to be impossible. And I'm sure there's some good aspects of it or good stories or
Oh yeah, I mean there's a family that loves it. It's not like it's all negative.
Right.
It's not even negative. It's that's all they know. But just amazing stories and anecdotes, from their experience that I want to somehow put into song,
Yeah.
But not every song has to be about the military or is about the military.
Right.
A kid could say, when my dad is home from deployment, he makes me waffles and that makes me happy.
Yeah.
And I write a song about waffles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not that I have. I did not. And that's not a story I heard.
Yeah.
But I could hear that.
Yeah.
And then it's just an example of not every song is going to be about the military. Like I want to make the songs universal.
Right.
As much as I can, but also have something included with their experience in the lyric,
Dude, I think that's a great idea. I can't wait. I'm excited to hear it when it's done.
Thanks. Yeah,
that's cool.
I'm super excited about it.
Yeah.
It's something new and different. And like I said, their stories go unheard.
Where can everybody hear your stuff or see what you're working on or get your book? And
I'm on all the socials, Spotify, music's on Spotify, and I prefer Apple Music.
They give more to the artists, correct?
Yeah, and plus I'm on quite a lot of playlists.
Oh, great.
Apple Music.
Cool.
So I like Apple Music over Spotify personally. But, I'm on Spotify as well. My book's on Amazon. It's on Barnes & Noble.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. Well, it was great talking with you.
Yeah,
this was fun
too. Yeah,
this was fun. Glad you came really over and did it. Yeah. You're the inaugural podcast in my house.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, this is the first time in the my makeshift studio with clamps and stuff. It's cool.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. And that was the episode with Mr. Greg Lato. I'm out here. I'm getting lunch, and that was a fantastic chat with him about books and about his super cool project that he has coming up with military veterans and the songs that he's going to make and the children's music that he's doing. I think it's fantastic. So go check out Greg. Go get his books, his children's books. I'll link them down below. And if you're not subscribed already, subscribe to the podcast and check out all the stuff that we have to offer. I will see you in the next episode.